Guys, I have something special for you today. I feel like I always do. Probably wouldn't be filming it if it wasn't. But you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. I'll just show you the car. We have this 2020 Audi R8 V10 Performance, and we have this car for the next couple hours. So let's check it out. So I want to give a huge shout out to my friend Chris. I'll put his Instagram right here. He is letting me take his R8 that he just picked up for a couple hours. I filmed a video with his Porsche 911 right here, and he sold that. Took a little hiatus from his supercar, sports car ownership, and he picked this up this month. Like, it's been just a couple weeks, and this thing is so cool. I personally think for this Gen R8, this is my favorite look that they did. This just looks a lot more aggressive, mean. These wheels are beautiful, these massive discs. This one is the V10 Performance. The Gen 2 didn't have any V8 options, so they're all V10, but this one's a V10 Performance, which is like the V10 Plus in the older years. You can see here we got these carbon fiber side skirts that run down the side. And the back end of this car just looks absolutely gorgeous. Got this really nice diffuser down here, dual exhaust, carbon fiber wing. And you can see right here, here's the Lamborghini derived 5.2 liter V10. I just drove this for just like a quick minute and it is emitting a ton of heat right now. But this car is absolutely gorgeous. So far, I've only done like a quick little 10-minute drive in it, and I am loving it. It is actually probably one of the easiest supercars I've ever driven just to cruise, which can be a good thing, but it also can be this car's downfall, because I feel like a problem with the R8 is people always say that they're just a little too boring, they're a little too tame, they're a little too, like, you just get tired of it. It just becomes like a normal car that just drives around. And just with that quick little drive, I could potentially see where they're coming from. But when you step out and you see a car that looks this good, come on, why wouldn't you want a car that looks that amazing but also drives really nice? Like, that's a perfect mix. But I think, let me show you the interior real fast. This has a gorgeous red leather interior full of carbon fiber. It is awesome. Here we got this full red leather, the door cards, stitching everywhere. And then, yeah, we got all this leather in here. Don't mind my camera bag. And I think this is probably the coolest steering wheel out of on the car market. I know they don't make these anymore, so was the coolest steering wheel on the market, not anymore. Got this full carbon fiber channel right here, red leather, a little shelf to store things right there, got an armrest for cup holders, which sucks that the cup holders are right where you need to put your elbow, so that is why my Monster is just chilling right there. Got this carbon fiber surround over our gauge cluster, and then just normal Audi, Volkswagen stuff here. The one thing that I find that I don't like so far, and it's the same irritation that I have with Porsches, is these paddles are too tiny. You have to reach so far back to want to change gear. If these were bigger, like the Huracans, that would be awesome. We're gonna climb on in here, which actually isn't too much of a task with these cars. Actually fit a lot better in R8s than I do Huracans. Still have a little bit of headroom, but one thing that surprised me was our last review that we did was with the Lotus Emira. This has less room in here for me than the Lotus Emira does, which is surprising. But this one does have a bit more of like a channel that your knee hits, and it's more of a cockpit design than the Emira, because the Emira was a little bit more wide open to accommodate for a manual shifter. But when you're in here, this is one of the nicest places to be. Red leather wrapped on everything, full carbon fiber center console. I already said this wheel is probably one of my favorites in the whole car market. And I also love how these buttons work. You have heated seats and carbon fiber around your air vents, around the doors, even like we have where the doors meet right here is full carbon fiber, leather stitching all around. See, in my opinion, this year of Audi, like the 2018 to 2022, 2023, that generation of Audi has the best interiors they ever had. And now with the new 2025s, they have downgraded. And they have a lot more plastic, a lot more just not good materials, and they just feel like a Volkswagen, where this actually feels a little more upscale. And that's coming from someone who owns like a newer Volkswagen myself. The new Audis feel the same as that, which if you're paying $80,000, $90,000 for a car, it shouldn't feel like my $40,000 SUV. I'm sorry. But this feels premium. I feel like this commands the price that it's asking for, which is all that you want, is to have a car that feels like the money that you paid for it. But I think we should get a start up real quick, and then I'll kind of show you how these buttons work. Yeah, that sounds crazy. All right, so let's run through this infotainment screen real quick. If you come down here, you can scroll through this with this little spinny knob, and it just goes through all these different menus. This isn't gonna be a too in-depth review, not gonna go through all these things. And then you can click this drive select mode here and pick which mode you want the car in. Obviously you wanna always be in dynamic. And I'm not sure if you just heard right there, the exhaust just opened up a little bit. You can also toggle your exhaust on and off with this button right here. And then I think this puts you into like a track mode. And then yeah, you have your music controls right there. Like I said, super little paddle shifters. I comfortably hold the thing here, but you have to really reach to hit these paddle shifters. I wish these were bigger. I think that's enough talking. Let's go take this for a drive. And then we're gonna go do a photo shoot with it and also a classic 911, so stay tuned for that. All right, driving the R8. Sounds so good. So, bit of basics before we get onto the road. The Audi R8 has 611 horsepower from a 5.2 liter V10. Like I said, derived from the Huracán. All-wheel drive also. They do make a rear wheel drive version called the R8 RWS, which is rear wheel steering. But this one is an all-wheel drive version. So we have amazing traction, amazing power, amazing looks, and it just makes it really fun. 0 to 60 happens in 3 seconds. So this car isn't as fast as the Huracán. I believe the Huracán is closer to a 2.8. Some people even gotten, I think, like a 2.5 out of Huracans. But 3 seconds for the R8. They can't make a car with the same motor and then take away from the glory of the Huracán. Lamborghini isn't gonna give another car the same motor and then make it be faster. But I know people who originally tried the Gen 2 R8s when they first came out, and they reported that it was actually faster than the Huracán. Just experience the handling a little bit around these bends. Again, I'm amazed that I have less room in this car than I did in the Lotus Emira. This interior feels so much more tiny. I would say this car really comes alive at 5,000 RPM. It's actually a little slow until you hit that 5,000 RPM. That also seems to be when the exhaust comes a lot more alive too. But these gear shifts and these downshifts are just instantaneous in this car. Has the dual clutch transmission, same one that's in the Lamborghini Huracán. And so it is lightning fast, but also the best part about R8s and Huracans is these things are dead reliable. These things, like, pretty much you can do anything to them. You can even supercharge them and they have no problems whatsoever. I remember when the Huracán first came out, there was a YouTuber called Vehicle Virgins. I'm gonna do a quick over here. Yeah, but Vehicle Virgins, he had a Huracán that I think he had like 20, 30,000 miles on it when he supercharged it. And then he supercharged it and then put another like 50,000 miles on it and had zero issues. These things are bulletproof. And like I said, they're the Honda Civic of supercars, people call R8s and Huracans, because they just last forever. And they're actually relatively accessible for people in this market. I believe you can pick up a 2020 R8 for around $130,000, $140,000, which is a nice little savings from a Huracan if you don't mind having the Audi badge instead of the Raging Bull. Because I think Huracans for a 2015 with a bit of miles is closer to about 170, 180. So you're getting a newer car with better tech, and also I think slightly more aggressive styling, especially in these 2020 model year ones. So slightly more aggressive styling, a car that is arguably just as fast, according to people that have tested them with like draggies, and you get it for $30,000, $40,000 discount. So I do think this is probably a better buy than buying a 2015 Huracan, because you just get just as much car for less money, for a lot less money, probably a good, 20% savings. and you get something that I think isn't going to lose as much value. I feel like these Gen 2s are going to hold their value really well because the Gen 1s are starting to go up in value, especially if you had a manual one. That is one thing the Gen 2s never had, was a manual option, but the manual R8s are fetching a good premium right now. This car is so smooth, which again, like a lot of people complain about the Huracán, that was almost its downfall in some ways, was it's too smooth. It's too easy. It shifts too nice. They kind of want things that have a Lamborghini engine in them to kick you in the head, be aggressive. Also, this suspension in dynamic mode is very stiff, so I am sorry if my footage is just super bouncy right now. Hopefully my Osmo and my Mobi Max are doing their thing, but this is a very bouncy road and the camera is literally just doing this. So I really hope this footage is actually usable right now. But yeah, this car is smooth, shifts happen instantaneously, and these downshifts, yeah. And those burbles, when you get the engine over 5,000 RPM and then you send it, it burbles like crazy. But yeah, but just these downshifts. Sounds so good. I do think Christian needs to put an exhaust on this thing ASAP though, just to give it just that little bit more. Because like I said, in the low end, you can't really hear much. But when you hit that 5,000 RPM, that's when it really comes alive. But up at this stop sign, we're gonna take a little right, and we're just gonna go drive up some wines right here because this thing's just too fun to not. But yeah, we are gonna be taking this car to go do a photo shoot. I found this really cool power station that I think will make for some awesome photos. We also have had a pretty moody weather day today, so mixing a power station with this car isn't white, it's actually like a white gray color that Audi does that just looks so good because it's a very subtle gray, but it looks white, but it's not in some light, which is awesome. I love it. Gives you some like visual variety to the car. Let's go up this windy road a little bit right here. Let's punch it. This engine revs up to 8,500 RPM, and you really need to stretch this engine to that to really feel the power that this thing has, because anything under 5,000, it doesn't feel like anything special, to be honest. But this car, definitely when you get up that power range, you feel all 611 horsepower. It is a very fun time. But now let's see how this handles. We're about to get to a little bit more of a windy road that we have here, and pop the revs down and let's take some of these turns. This thing feels solid, planted, but it's like what you expect. We also are just gonna be a little more safe. This is a time of day where people like to come out and do activities, walk around in these back roads in Idaho, so we are being safe here, I promise. Take these turns. This thing handles so nice. This, I would say, handles really close to that Lotus Emira. Lotus Emira had some of the best handling I've ever felt. This is pretty close. You can definitely feel a lot more of the weight on the back though, because this thing has a huge engine. The Toyota Emira had a 3.5 liter V6. This has the 5.2 liter V10. You can feel that weight difference. And also the all-wheel drive system too adds a lot of weight also. And even though this car is bigger, it feels smaller in here. I've already said that. I'm not gonna hit that again, but you definitely feel the weight of this car. All right, let's get around this bend. Oh, those downshifts sound insane. Again, this thing is so fun, so fast, but it's so smooth. And again, I wish those shifts had just a little bit of drama to them. They're so instantaneous, even in the full hardcore dynamic mode, that you almost feel like you're not doing anything, which isn't a very fun thing. Like, you want to feel like you're doing something in here. I drove an Aventador SVJ, and that thing just punches you in your head when you shift it, and that is probably the funnest part about the car. I know that's also what makes it the most like unlivable from day-to-day use, but that's what is one of the funnest things about it, you know? Where this car, You just drop these, shift 3 times down. Simple. Shift down, now we're cruising, 6th gear, just chilling. I would say, I do wish this had a little bit more of a sportier seat. I know you can get a sports seat in this car, but I almost want like a comfort plus kind of seat, like something that's like in the middle of the sports seat in this. These ones, they grip you okay, but you don't get like a ton of bolstering. They are comfortable. I definitely could do a road trip in this car, but I just wish I had just a little bit more bolstering. I don't feel super secure in these. And this is coming from a big guy who, big bolstered seats can be pretty uncomfortable. Like I sat in a McLaren Senna. I didn't sit, I rode in a McLaren Senna. That was probably one of the most uncomfortable experiences as far as sitting on things go.
That's what she said.
Got another straightaway here. 6.7 to 8,000 RPM. Those downshifts, those burbles. I just love that slap when you downshift. All right, let's see the turning radius of this thing. Not bad. This turning radius is actually pretty dang good. All right, I'll wrap up my thoughts before we go take some photos. This thing is usable, it's drivable, it's fun, it's super fast. I could definitely see why you'd want a supercharger. I did make a YouTube video I put here with a supercharged Huracán, and I do think this needs a supercharger. I feel like that does just make it kind of that perfect all-around experience. This car is definitely one that you can use every day, enjoy every day, especially with all-wheel drive being here in Idaho. You could actually probably drive this in the winter if you wanted. But yeah, I could see having one of these and enjoying it every day, but I could also see having one of these and getting bored of it. I could see both sides because of how usable, how good it is, how like just livable it is its downfall. And I feel like that's the downfall for everybody, but that's also why this is usually people's first pick and first intro into supercars, because it has all those, you don't have to make as many compromises. You still have a trunk you can fit things in. You can still do kind of pretty much 90% of what you can do with a normal sports car. With the supercar performance, you don't really have to compromise much, but you still get a car that gives insane performance and a crazy experience. But yeah, this thing is a blast to drive, and thank you again, Chris, for letting me take this car. I really appreciate you trusting me with it, letting me have fun with it. Yeah, let's go head to the power station. Let's go take some photos. All right, guys, we just got to it's actually our second shoot location. We took some photos at the start. I'll actually put a couple right here. But now we are out in this like farm field with R8 here. We got Matt's crazy tuned 911 turbo. We actually, if you remember the Pagani vlog, which I'll put right here, we took this up and saw a ton of like Paganis in Jackson, Wyoming. But just look at this view right here. We got this R8 on a dirt road, this beautiful river running through. It's an amazing sunset. Just look at this right here. Idaho is popping off. This just looks insane. This car under the sunset is absolutely wild. Back end right here. So cool. I said this guy just looks like it's painted right now. This looks insane. And then yeah, we have the beautiful Snake River that runs through here. And all behind an Amazon warehouse. Yeah, we got Matt's Turbo S, or just turbo. It's a 996 turbo. Hi, hello. But let's take one last look at the R8. We're about ready to wrap up, and I will play all the photos that I take at the very end of the video. But to wrap up my thoughts on this car, my hair is crazy right now. This thing is amazing. I absolutely love how it looks, how it drives. But again, I think how it drives is also what hurts it the most. I feel like because it's too easy, it's too smooth, that it makes the car a touch boring. So that's why it's good to supercharge these, do a little bit of modifications to them, so you can just bring out just that little bit extra life out of them, and that would make this almost pretty much the perfect car. So Chris, supercharge this thing, get it to about 800 wheel, have fun with it, and I will gladly steal it from you anytime. Even how it says right now, I'll gladly steal it from anytime. Thank you so much for letting me take it. That will wrap up our video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and let me know what kind of cars you want me to review next. I'd love to get some suggestions, maybe see if I can make it happen. But I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my night with the R8, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.